Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, and the technical rainbow in between, this is Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Gaston, and with me is my tag team partner.
There's a chant coming over the mountain. It's slow and it's quiet, but it's building. You can hear it coming, slowly approaching you, and it sounds something like AEW, 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 AEW. AEW. Hi, everybody. I'm the Vacuuminator. How you doing?
Yep. And this is the first episode of Modular Media Wrestling Podcast in a new era, the Wednesday Night War, to find the new golden standard.
Yay!
So, how's your wrestling been?
It's been pretty wrestling.
So this is the first month of the Wednesday Night War. We have had our first shots. We've had our first blows, our goings-ons. Essentially, WWE is restructuring their broadcast schedule. So Monday is Raw. Wednesday is now NXT live on the USA Network. And Friday is SmackDown.
Yeah.
All the while, new kid on the block, a little company called AEW. Maybe you've heard of them. It's not like they have sold out how many arenas at this point?
Yeah, we probably ought to have talked about them at this point. They seem to be a bit of a big deal.
They've had their first television broadcast, the first airing of wrestling on the TNT channel since 2001.
Oof.
Oh,
good.
Man. So, do we want to start with the good shit first or the good shit last?
I mean, it's kind of been tradition to start with the good shit so far.
Yeah, but we've talked about AEW second half.
That's fair.
So, yeah, let's go. Let's go with the way it's written here. Might as well.
All right.
Yeah. So AEW, first up and foremost, we have a couple bit of things on the lead up to the first broadcast of Dynamite. Namely, we've had a couple Road to interviews featuring Riho, MJF, Brian Cutler, and Nyla Rose.
Did you just say Brian Cutler?
Brandon Cutler.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1 on saying that name.
Hey.
I saw a thing that says his nickname should be the Natural 20.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to highlight these because these were pretty good lead-ins to fairly important stuff that's going to be happening in the opening weeks of AEW's TV schedule. Basically, Riho and Nyla Rose talking about their backgrounds and how those compare and contrast, and MJF and Brandon Cutler doing the same thing. And oh boy, did one of those things blow up way more than I think anyone expected to.
Yeah, but again, the internet's a shitty place.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what we're alluding to is Nyla Rose talking about her struggles going through in life, saying she's black, she's Native American. And the last bit is she's transgender, which a lot of AEW fans, we already know. It's no big deal. It's just Nyla Rose. That's who she is. But certain people who aren't in the know, who weren't aware, and who are dipshits who think wrestling should be considered a sport and not what it is, which is professional wrestling, we're going like, well, wait a second, what the fuck? And being assholes about that, which fuck them.
I didn't know about that. I wasn't talking about that, but good on you to highlight that. I was talking about the fact that MJF tweeted a picture of himself shirtless and said, "I don't play Dungeons and Dragons," and then the whole of nerd Twitter jumped on his ass.
Oh yeah, and even Matt Mercer, who you probably don't know, Zach, but the internet does. He is the DM for a critically acclaimed play podcast called Critical Role.
I have heard of Critical Role, at least.
Yeah, he's the DM for that, and basically responded to MJF saying, "Yo, it's a fun game. You might enjoy it. I still hope Brandon Cutler beats your ass," which,
hey,
sadly, we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
But
and
yeah,
surprisingly, for as much as of us going like, yeah, these guys are cool. They're neat up and comers. They'll be good in a year or two. Like, this feud got super heated and got us all super invested really fast, thanks to the magic of Twitter analytics.
Oh yeah. It's a really good thing, and AEW's just been kicking ass and getting people who aren't in the wrestling sphere to notice it.
Yeah.
Like, this is stuff WWE would kill for.
One of the things I really like about AEW just as a company so far is they are doing an amazing job at actually following through on what Tony Khan and a couple others have said they really want the company to be about, which is getting lapsed wrestling fans back into wrestling, getting wrestling more in the public eye, making wrestling a household thing again.
Yeah. And they're doing a bang-up job about it just because TNT and Turner and all of them are like really gung-ho. They're really like happy with everything they're doing. And to an extent, Fox has also been doing a lot of that with SmackDown, so they've been getting a lot of press coverage. But it doesn't feel as natural there. It feels very much like, here's a commercial. With AEW, it feels very much like, whoa, what's this new thing? This is something interesting. We should probably talk about this real quick.
Yeah, it's really just it's a really exciting time to be a wrestling fan, because I did this little kind of sappy tweet right before the premiere of a certain thing we're going to talk about in a minute, where I was like, we're 4 hours away from what I feel like is going to be the beginning of a new golden age for wrestling. And as much as we're all calling this a war, because nostalgia and fun, fake and
catchy names and
this is really a party. It's a party I'm super excited to be at, and I'm just so happy that even though I only got into wrestling like a year and change at this point, it's just amazing to me that I got in just in time to watch the industry grow from like a nice little get together with friends to potentially the best block party in history.
Oh yeah, and like it's not even like vindictive or vicious about it at all either, because the day after AEW did their show, WWE sent a press release saying, "We congratulate AEW on a show well done, but this isn't the end.
Mm-hmm.
We're happy for you and everything." But I can't remember the exact wording. It was like, "You won this round of the war" or something.
It was we applaud the true winner tonight was the fans. We applaud everyone for getting to enjoy such great entertainment, and to all of our fans around the world and all of our roster members, we want to remind you, this isn't a one-night event. We need you to keep up that spirit every week from now on.
Yeah, and the Wild Ride, as this is a marathon, not a one-night sprint.
Yeah.
We're calling it a war because it's a catchy name, but it's not a war. It's just something new. It's something fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all great because TNT revealed what the show's name was going to be, and it's Wednesday night Dynamite.
Oh my god. I can't believe they actually went with the name the fans have been begging for. That's so great.
Straight up a callback to Monday Nitro from WCW. A lot of people have been saying this like I've been reading comments and people have been saying that it reminds them of being a kid watching WCW in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah. And I also read a thing that Cody owns the trademarks to stuff like Halloween Havoc, Bash at the Beach.
Oh yeah, he bought all those months ago when AEW was just getting started during the lead up to Double or Nothing. And he said, like, yeah, we don't have any real plans for these. I just wanted to get all of Dad's old stock back. But good looking out, everyone. Kind of like, I understand you expect things. Don't expect them too soon, but maybe.
Oh, I can't wait for next year to get a Halloween Havoc.
Oh.
Just imagine all those nerds dressing up in Halloween costumes and wrestling.
Yes.
I can see it now.
Otherwise known as a typical Wednesday for Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Like, oh man, that would be so much fun. But yeah. Next thing is Cody called Jericho out for being lazy after he called Dusty a SOB in a promo.
Yes. Fantastic segment by Cody on Road 2, where once again, the Rhodes family proving that they are the best promos around, because Cody does this amazing promo dissecting how he has all this respect for Jericho, and he sees him as one of the greats. He says he's one of the best people on a mic in the universe. But in a Twitter promo, like he shot a video and uploaded it to Twitter, Jericho ended it by calling Dusty a son of a bitch, and Cody just blatantly called out the obvious and said, Really? From you? That's the best you got? You're getting lazy in your old age, Jericho, and it's going to cost you. And it's like,
Oh, yeah. Especially because there's a little bit of history of rumor that Dusty didn't really see much in Jericho.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting gears, and they're not ignoring it. There's a lot of interesting wrinkles in the storytelling, and they're not ignoring it. They're paying attention, and it's really cool. Especially in the recap of everything that's gone down in AEW up till the beginning of the TNT broadcast and countdown to Dynamite.
Yeah, this was a 1 hour documentary that aired the night before the first episode of Dynamite on TNT, which I decided to sit down and watch just out of pure curiosity. It's basically the same thing they did on ITV right before Double or Nothing, but a few new bits, some stuff kind of ported in from Road 2, and Tony Schiavone is there.
Yeah, it's just pretty much like, hey, people who haven't been keeping up with what we've been doing and just watch TNT, here's what's going down. Here's just what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair, but also, like, I was a bit disappointed that so much screen time was given to the actual members of the Elite and not most of the rest of the roster. Like, it was pretty much Jericho, Kenny, the Bucks, and Cody, and then one segment about Nyla and Riho, which was just a re-edited Road 2 segment. I was kind of bothered that they didn't do anything about the tag tournament or Cutler and MJF, because those were supposedly big things going into the show, and they do still feel like big things, but it's just like, I kind of wish you brought those up here.
I'm okay with it, mainly because it was kind of introducing for the first episode, and a lot of the first episode is heavily featured around the Elite. Cody in the first match, Omega and the Bucks later on, and Hangman Page, who's kind of an ancillary satellite member of the Elite.
Yeah.
So it's kind of getting you up to speed for the very first episode of Dynamite, and this whole episode of Dynamite was hyping up the tag team tournament for the next couple shows.
Yeah, they had a segment about it.
Yeah. So I agree with you, but I'm not as down on it.
Yeah. I think like I would have liked it a lot more had I just not seen this footage so many times before.
Right. But then we get to the premiere of AEW Dynamite, and oh boy, it felt like an old school fucking wrestling show.
Television history, people.
Right at the beginning, the theme song just goes on, Dynamite, and then you hear the riff, Pyro goes on, and then you hear JR. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AEW Dynamite.
And he fucking lists off the attendance size, says where they are, instead of just opening with Michael Cole going, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw!" And then Roman Reigns comes out, cuts a promo, gets attacked by somebody. That person cuts a promo, and then it cuts back to Michael Cole going, so yeah, this is Raw. Here's some of the matches tonight. We're in this place. I guess that's cool.
No, he made it sound fucking awesome that we were in Washington, D.C. watching this.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to go visit Washington, D.C. after this. It's like, fuck yeah, Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. Nation's capital, fuck yeah. And like one of the first things we see is just a camera shot of our announcers so we can see them. Tony Schiavone, JR, and Excalibur. Excellent fucking commentary.
Could not have picked a better team, in my opinion. Like, you've got this cool up-and-comer lucha guy in a suit, and then you've got the leader of the the leader of the announced team from Raw is War, and the leader of the announced team from Monday Nitro coming together to form this new group. And it's like, yes, I'm here for this. I'm usually kind of irked by three-man announced teams, but I'm excited about this.
Because it felt very much of like, it was Tony Schiavone or JR calling the match, and then every once in a while, the other people would just make a comment.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't trying to get their shit in. It was just like, I have something that would be relevant to say. All right, cool. Say it. And This is the best JR has been on any AEW thing.
And for the first time in a long time when watching wrestling, because like I'm not just poo-pooing Raw and SmackDown when I talk about this. I have this with NXT. Some NXT's announced teams sometimes. They're not as bad, but I can have it sometimes. I never felt like the moments when I latched on to something the commentary team said were distracting me. I felt like they were contributing to my enjoyment of the match.
Oh yeah, because every time there was a botch in any match or like just something was a little off, they immediately caught it and like explained it away. Like Nyla Rose accidentally almost drops Nakazawa. It's like, oh, her grip wasn't tight enough, so she had to regrip.
Mm-hmm.
Like little things like that, or like Brandon Cutler, which I'm not sure we'll get into it because he did a thing and to me it looked like it was on purpose, but some people said it was like a botch, and they immediately went, oh, it looked like he tweaked his knee and he couldn't do the move he wanted to do.
Or even just joking with each other. Like there's a moment where they're talking about the background of the Cutler MJF match, and Tony pipes in and goes, I know we're supposed to be professional. We're not supposed to take sides in these matches, but honestly, I just want to see Cutler kick this little prick's ass. And JR just immediately goes, yeah, Tony, keeping it TV-14.
Yeah, they bounce off each other really well. Whenever JR started not liking a thing, which that's the biggest problem with JR and AEW, is if he doesn't totally get the thing, he kind of drains of energy. He can pick it right back up as soon as he gets back into it, but if like one little thing bugs him real quick, he's just not totally into it.
So he's kind of like me.
Yeah, like it's just tiny things, but he's a professional about it. But Shivani and Excalibur can get him right back into it.
Yeah,
it's really good. They're really good at like keeping JR on the ball, being announcers in their own right. JR this is the best. This is maybe right up there with one of the other best commentary teams, which is Ranello, McGuinness, and Beth Phoenix. And even then, that's mostly on Ranello and McGuinness.
Yeah, like I like Beth Phoenix, but she doesn't contribute a whole lot except to occasionally tease Nigel.
And she's growing into the role. I wouldn't say she's at her peak. She's getting into it.
Fair enough.
So she has room to grow, and she can get better. Mm-hmm.
But for now, we've got the absolute boys.
The first match on TNT in 17 years. Of course, it's Dusty's son. It's Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara.
I marked out so hard when that theme hit. Like I was just like so hype and like frantically explaining to my dad, who I was watching this with, you don't get it. This guy is like a personal hero of mine. I'm so excited for this match.
And like just the emotion in his eyes walking around that ring right before the match started. It was like, we're here. We fucking did it.
He has like this, and it's such a great like elevation of emotion as he comes out too, because he comes out through the glass thing that lifts up, and he's next to
chandelier-esque object.
Yeah, and he's got this kind of like glazed over look in his eyes, like, oh my God. And then he takes a few steps with Brandy, and they get about halfway down the ramp, and then he just stops. He looks out at the crowd, and then he starts throwing his arms up, going, come on, you can cheer louder, come on, come on, come on. And then he runs down to the ring, and he does his kiss on the mat, and he starts looking around again, and you can tell like he's on the verge of tears, but he's holding it back. He's so happy.
Oh yeah, it's so great. And then Sammy Guevara comes out, and he's just like a little dickhead. Perfect little entrance for this.
You know what he is? He's the flippin' Logan Paul of AEW. That's exactly.
Oh yeah, because they always bring up his Volly.
Yeah.
That makes the Young Bucks the Casey Neistats.
Yep, definitely.
Only here, folks, where you get weird esoteric comparisons of wrestlers and YouTubers.
Also, I did live tweet this, so I'm kind of like keeping up with my live tweets as we go, just to see if I noticed anything that I might have forgotten. There was a Vince Fears rating signs as Cody was coming out. Like it was to like the left of the ring.
Fucking, of course, shout out to one of the most infamous WCW signs ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it feels good. It's neat. It's good. It's cool. But it's a solid fucking little match between.
It's just a classic Cody match of like he has a little give and take. He's grappling here and there. The opponent's getting the better of him, but eventually he rallies and he takes him down. It's a big, great emotional victory.
Oh yeah, especially because Sammy really played well into his role in this match, which was basically opportunistic guy just trying to make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
He does everything he can to kind of wow the crowd and to beat Cody and just like knock Cody off of his pedestal. That's a lot of his character, but also he throws Brandy in front of Cody in order to make Cody attack her, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like legitimately, my heart stopped for a second when that happened. I was like, oh shit, is she okay? Like, I know it's a work, but is she okay?
But the crowd started going asshole.
Mm-hmm. And then like, Brandy came back like 3 minutes later and just slapped it.
Oh, yeah. The best part about that whole spot, though, was they did it right in front of a special guest we'll talk about in later, and the look on his face was like, holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
They're real about this.
Also, since we're talking about dives, we should mention, because we were talking about when we were doing our bit on All Out, we were talking about how seemed like the barricade was a little too close to the ring, wasn't quite safe for falls and dives and whatnot. Yeah. They fixed that. They backed it out another 2 feet.
Yeah, perfect. No one ran into it unless they were supposed to in like a spot, but that's neither here or there. But eventually, Cody wins, rolls up Sammy Guevara. He pins him 1, 2, 3.
And they tease that there's going to be post-match interviews in AEW, which I am all for. I hope we do actually do those eventually. But we didn't get to do those this time because as Tony Schiavone was offering Cody a mic, Jericho comes out of nowhere.
No. Before that, because this leads into something later on in the night, Sammy Guevara grabs Cody and goes like, handshake, respectful, sportsmanship. But he's purposely making it so Cody is not looking at the ramp, and then Jericho comes in for the attack. All the while, Sammy's going like, oh shit, I don't want any part of this, and walks away.
You know, I feel like a complete dumbass because I didn't realize that that's why he did the handshake until you just said that.
Also, apparently, I don't remember it because I haven't been keeping up with BTE, but earlier on in BTE, apparently the reason they gave Sammy Guevara a contract is because Jericho was really high on him. It's like Jericho vouched for him, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, Jericho did a beatdown. Someone threw a hot dog into the ring.
There was a chair, there was a selfie, there was all kinds of fun stuff. It went on through an entire commercial break, and this is kind of a sore point for some people, myself included. All Audrey Edwards did was just kind of stand there to the side and yell at him. She never tried to stop Jericho. We never got more refs and security coming out. Jericho just kind of beat on Cody for a commercial break and then went to the back. That felt a little odd to me.
Yeah, I can get why that's odd, but I'm okay with it. It just in the terms of like in the moment of the story, it's fine. I wasn't second guessing it, but afterwards I was second guessing it.
Yeah.
Also, that's the selfie Chris Jericho took.
I saw that on Reddit earlier.
It's such a good picture.
Mm-hmm. Like, I would not be surprised if that gets memed.
Man. But really solid. It's really making you go like, oh shit, for the match at Full Gear because Cody won, he is officially in the match for the AEW World Title at Full Gear.
And as I said on Twitter, fingers crossed, here's to a long winning streak.
Oh yeah. But the next match of the night was between Brandon Cutler and MJF. And what is probably a solid but ultimately disappointing match. Disappointing in a good way. The
thing is, like, the outcome was disappointing. The match itself was pretty entertaining.
Oh, yeah. MJF comes out and he immediately starts fucking doing a promo going like, fuck you, you're all poor, you're bullshit, I'm the best.
And then Cutler just runs circles around him for a couple minutes until he tweaks his knee.
Yep, he's on the top rope. He's about to do a flying move. Oh no, he falls and tweaks his knee. That's the thing. I think that was a work. I think that was purposeful, but I've seen some people say it may have been a botch.
It looked real enough that honestly I could buy either one.
Personally, I think it's a work.
Yeah.
And then MJF takes advantage of it and wins in what I hope to be is the first step in a sort of going on feud, because I would love to see Brandon Cutler get his comeuppance back.
Yeah, I would kind of love for this to be like the ongoing mid-card feud, and maybe once we've got the tag belts good and established, maybe we introduce a mid-card belt for these two to fight over. I think that'd be fun.
Honestly, I wouldn't want another title belt for like a good year.
Okay, fair enough.
Focus on your big title, get that prestige. Focus on your women's title, get that prestige. Focus on the tag title. You have enough there, and once you kind of have more things going on, because I watched the after show Scrum interview with Tony Khan. He said basically, I don't want to spread AEW too thin, too quick. I want to focus on what we have right now for the time being before we do anything else, so we can put all of our attention and creative effort into that.
That's fair.
So I think in a year's time, they have a couple more pay-per-views down. They have a good pay-per-view schedule kind of going on. Maybe because here's the thing, they also had a couple dark matches and they record those, and Tony Khan said, yeah, we're going to record them, and we're thinking of doing like a B show where those dark matches are put on for the audience for free on whatever service we put it on. That's very much a possibility, which I'd be down for. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I could see in a year's time maybe having like a TV title, like a title that's only on TV.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
You know, kind of give it a unique stipulation. That would be what I would think would be cool. But yep, MJF won, and next we have an arena interview with Chris Van Vliet. Awesome interview, dude. Coming down and interviewing Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, who play Jay and Silent Bob, and for their upcoming movie, Jay and Silent Bob: The Reboot. Which
was honestly did throw me for a loop, but in a very good way, because I knew they were there. We saw those pictures on Twitter of them showing off the tag belts, which weird way to reveal the tag belts, but okay. And then seeing Chris Van Vliet on actual television wearing an actual AEW branded suit, interviewing actual movie stars was like, holy shit, this boy's going places.
Oh yeah.
Like I could genuinely see him joining the commentary team in a year or two.
Yeah, but he's officially a member of AEW, and I guess this is what his role is going to be, as interviews and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The thing I want to commend this on is, like, if WWE had did this, it'd be a backstage segment, it'd relate to nothing else, it'd go nowhere, it'd just be like, oh, okay, cool, they had a celebrity there.
Oh, hey, the lead singer of Nickelback and his son happened to buy a ticket this week. Hi, you like WWE, don't you? Yes, I have heard of Seth Rollins.
But here, Chris Van Vliet comes down in interviews and goes like, "Hey, so what are you thinking of AEW so far?" And Kevin Smith was going like, "Yeah, this is fucking awesome. I'm really digging this. Really cool. Yeah, we're here because Chris Jericho is
the man."
What?
He called Cody the man.
Yeah. And he said, "Yeah, we're here because little cross promotion. Chris Jericho's in our movie. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cool." And then Angelico and Evans come up and start fucking harassing them and just like spewing shit at them and going like, "Fuck you," essentially. And
they're essentially a couple of grumpy drunks on the side of the street.
Yeah, because they're a little pissed off and miffed that they're not in the tag team tournament. But then Private Party comes in, quiets it down, gives Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes a beer, and kind of leads into the idea of what's going on in the tag team tournament and the tag team scene.
And then they talk about the brackets, which had me go like, okay, that's a weird way to introduce the idea of the tag tournament for the TV audience, but okay. I guess that was a nice way to get a lot of stuff introduced in one segment. But then we go into probably the much better way of introducing it, which is Scorpio Sky doing a Barack Obama impression.
Yes. Oh man, just simply like, and it's just a Brock impression all the way leading up to this is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's so good. And then they're up on the stage, and there was Tony Schiavone, right?
Yeah, it was Tony Schiavone.
And Scorpio goes like, yeah, we thought about it long and hard, and we've kind of decided we're going to go with the experience that Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian bring to the ring. I'm going to hang back for this tournament. And it's like, yeah, okay, legitimate choice. And then the Lucha Brothers come out and go like, hey, zero fear, motherfucker. And then a big brawl happens. And
we're the best tag team in the universe, because that's what the Bucks have been saying. We're the best tag team in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So they're continuing that little feud. They're fighting with SEU, which is going to be their first match in the bracket.
And, it was a nice little segment. You can't go wrong with luchadors wearing nice suits.
And I am much more happy about how they presented this information for the show than how like WWE would, which would be a backstage segment behind some curtains with a TV in the back, and they go like, so only 2 people can go into the bracket, blah, 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 who's going to be in it? And in weird scripted WWE promo, this felt real, this felt natural, this felt like a sports like fucking press event in the middle of the show, just going like, yep, no, this is our decision, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then we have a rematch from the independent scene. This is the first time it's been in AEW. Hangman Adam Page versus Pac, the Bastard.
Yeah, and I love how much Tony Schiavone just kept going, he's the bastard, Pac! And it's like, oh, you're so excited to be TV-14 again, aren't you?
Really solid match, really fucking good. It really made Pac look like a badass.
Mm-hmm. It seems like they might be doing a miniature version of what they're doing with Kenny with Hangman right now, where he's kind of losing his mojo and he's going to have to get back in the groove eventually.
Yeah, but Hangman tried. He had a lot of good moves, but Pac eventually just got the brutalizer on him.
And that was that. But not before one of my favorite calls of the night happened, where they had to go to a break in the middle of the match. And JR said, we're going to a commercial obligation. We'll be right back. And I'm like, commercial obligation is the best turn of phrase ever. I hope JR just uses that every time they go to a break from now on.
Oh, so good. Also, really excellent. They mentioned the picture-in-picture commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said, hey, just so you can keep an eye on the action and don't miss a thing, we're going to go to this. Unlike SmackDown, who forever just did it and no explanation.
Yep.
I much prefer getting the warning, hey, by the way, a commercial is going to be happening. It's going to have a picture-in-picture so you don't miss the action.
Yeah. And overall, the match was pretty good. It was a nice, slow build match. It was one of those where it starts off kind of like, I'm not sure about this. This seems like just some basic grappling, and then eventually it really gets going.
And they definitely really kind of give you your expectations of what an AEW TV match will feel like. Because none of these were big, huge, bombastic events, but they were all still really solid matches.
Yeah. And they all ended up feeling really satisfying.
Yeah. Like, they gave you enough meat to grab onto, but not enough that you go like, oh shit, I'm stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have the match for the women's title, Nyla Rose versus Riho.
With Britt Baker coming out on commentary to basically say, I should have been in this match a dozen times.
Yep. It wasn't the best thing to do, but it really it put Britt Baker in front of people's eyes. It made her noticed, that kind of thing.
It's I'll say this about it. It's a million times better than Stephanie McMahon coming out on commentary for the Women's Royal Rumble and just spewing corporate bullshit for an hour.
Yeah. And she knew what she was doing. She wasn't trying to speak up on everything. They asked her a question, she responded.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't try to commentate on the match itself.
Yeah.
So
this was my match of the night.
Oh, it was a fucking beautiful match.
Yeah, and this was also the one match my dad really got into, which was super surprising for me because just one thing I've discovered about my dad in the last couple weeks of starting to watch wrestling weekly with him, he's more so into fast-paced women's wrestling than anything else.
Oh, then he's gonna love AEW with all the Joshi shit that's gonna be going down.
Yeah, like we'll talk about it in a minute, but the match that opened the USA premiere of NXT, he was super into, and this, he like at first he was like, this is kind of interesting, and then more and more as it was going on, we were both just like yelling and cheering and being so hyped for our new Madame Champion, Riho.
Oh yeah, but there's a lot of beautiful fucking spots in this, and like beautiful in safe ways that aren't putting their bodies in danger on a pay-per-view level. Like my favorite spot was Nyla Rose was on the ground face down, and so Riho was coming up and jumping and doing a double stomp, a very Joshi style move. But what happened was as soon as Riho landed on Nyla Rose just started to stand up, and Riho went with her.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a neat little visual. It's like, oh shit.
And there was a great spot where she had Riho in a lock, and Riho had to drag them over to the ropes. There was a cool catch moment, and of course, the moment everybody gift, Nyla getting tricked into jumping onto a pile of chairs.
Oh yeah, it's like really great stuff. But in the end, Riho won. We have our
which I honestly did not expect to happen. I was really going into this expecting, like, okay, they're putting Nyla Rose front and center in a ton of their advertising stuff. The show is in her hometown. They've been trying to make a huge point about we are a company that's big on diversity. So obviously their first women's champion is going to be the trans woman whose hometown it is. Not necessarily being cynical, but just calculating facts in my head. But still, I was like, I like Joshis, so I'm going to cheer for Riho. And then magically, Riho just ended up winning, and the entire audience was with her. It was kind of an amazing moment, a huge surprise that normally in a situation like this, I would expect to be an upset.
Here's the thing with Nyla Rose. I think they're setting her up to be the big heel character for the women's division. Not necessarily the big champion, but this is our bastard of the women's division. This is our bitch.
Yeah.
This is the one you're going to want to fucking hate because
she's their Nia Jax, to be a bit blunt about it.
Yeah. She's also she's the new Awesome Kong. She's the person that's going to be like the asshole.
Also, I don't expect you to edit this in, but just look at how happy Riho was holding that belt.
Oh, she's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Nakazawa, who is kind of like their AEW's kind of translator for the Japanese talent,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of his sub role because there's a lot of wrestlers there. And really cool thing Tony Khan mentioned in the post TNT interview was that any position in the company that can be filled by a wrestler is being filled by a wrestler. So anybody who wants to have healthcare will have it.
Nice.
So any position.
I don't know how much you know about Nakazawa, but he's actually a pretty cool guy. Like they did one of those Ask BTE mailbag segments a few weeks back, and he ended up getting asked like, "What made you want to become a professional wrestler?" And he said, "Well, I was at a show with some friends, and I met this cute girl, and she was really into wrestling. Like it was her favorite thing." And I just kind of thought wrestling was cool at the time. And I asked her who her favorite wrestler was, and she told me, and it was like some big New Japan star from the mid-2000s. I can't remember who he said it was. And then I asked her out, and I got really motivated, and I realized I wanted to be her favorite wrestler. So I started training, and now he pulls out his cell phone, and he calls his wife, and he says, "Hey, honey, who's your favorite wrestler?" Holds the phone up to a mic, and she does the Nakazawa, and I'm like, that is the best shit ever.
That's fucking adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, give me the wholesome Nakazawa run, man.
Yeah.
But he comes up and says, "I'm so proud of you. I want to interview you in Japanese for a Japanese audience." And he's about to ask a question. Nyla Rose comes in, bops Nakazawa on the back of the head. She picks him up, does a powerbomb, fucking brutal, and then starts trying to go for a Riho. But then who comes in for the save to kind of break things up and cool heads Kenny Omega comes in, saves his protege.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, and I think we have completely now sold Riho as a great choice to be the leader of the women's locker room. Like, I have no insight. I don't know what that atmosphere is actually like. But with all her experience, making her the first champion makes sense because she can be that locker room leader and help people out and help elevate other people by going like, this person's got real potential. I want to work with them for a bit. Put them in a program.
Especially because Awesome Kong is a coach. She's a full-time member of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to be there as well. She's going to help be kind of a focal point of the whole thing. Just kind of leading the group. Aja Kong, whenever she comes in, does a program. She's going to be a great voice in that locker room. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. And just two little other things I noticed during this match that I can't really figure out a specific way to transition into, but I want to bring up. That belt is way smaller than it looked at All Out. It's not a bad thing. I just think it's adorable. Like when the referee held it up at the start of the match, I was like, "Oh my god, it's tiny."
It's very.
I love it.
Yeah.
Also,
some people are complaining, "Oh, it's too tiny." It's like, no, man, it's cute. It's dainty.
And also, I knew Riho had been wrestling since she was 9, and I'd heard the number of years of experience that gave her thrown out for a couple times. I didn't realize it until Excalibur said it during the match. I'm the same age as Riho.
Yep.
So just putting it out there. Girl, if you ever want to slide into my DMs, they're open.
Yeah, nah. That's not going to happen, brah. I mean, yeah, you can dream.
I'm honestly more so joking with that because I had to squeeze comedy out of it, but also I'm just really impressed. It's like when I found out I was the same age as Post Malone. It's like, damn, somebody my age is that successful. That's awesome. When am I going to be that successful?
Never at this rate.
I'm working on it. Things are happening. We're moving. We're shaking.
But then we have our main event of the night. The Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and two mystery partners that were revealed the night before, Santana and Ortiz.
Chosen simply because after they signed with AEW, after Chris Jericho won the belt, they were the only two who went back to Jericho's lounge and said thank you.
Oh, and it's such a brilliant little moment. It very much showcases what's going to be going on later on in the night.
And it works perfectly with their characters because Jericho has been this big asshole going around demanding respect and threatening to destroy everyone who gets in his way, and you know he will do it because of his past. And their characters are Latina gangsters. So they know you gotta pay respect to the big man.
Yeah. And it's just like really cool because they go like, oh man, hey, AEW's doing really good. Thank you, Chris Jericho. And it's like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the match goes on. Match starts, and Kenny Omega is about to do his patented Terminator dive. But who should show up behind him but John fucking Moxley?
Hey, what the hell? I love that JR did that again.
Yep. He fucking starts brawling with Omega in and around the ring. They go to the VIP lounge, which JR was not aware of, and he is very upset at that.
Mm-hmm.
Then John Moxley does a DDT to Kenny Omega into a glass table.
Oh, that was insane. Like I was so hype over that because I was not expecting it because they said we're not doing blood and guts on TV, and they didn't start bleeding from that, and they pretty much immediately cut away and then didn't go back to them at all for the rest of the match. But still, to see something like that on live TV was pretty special.
Oh yeah,
and also I should mention there was a good little comedy spot right at the beginning of the match where Kenny says, I'm going up first, and Ortiz is up first, and then he refuses to fight Ortiz and says, tag Jericho in, I want Jericho. And Jericho's like, all right, tag me. So he tags him in, they start squaring up, and Kenny runs at Jericho. Jericho dodges and then immediately tags back out as a great little troll.
As a great little, like, fuck you moment, heel heat.
Yeah.
But then, after Kenny Omega went through the glass table, the match continued, which I know Wrestle Talk felt like they should have explained it more. It should have been DQ. Something in the moment I was into it. In the afterwards, I go like, yeah, they could have fixed that up a little bit.
The thing is, it's hard to catch sometimes because they only ever say it once, but JR does always bring up, we have referee's discretion. So if the ref wants the match to continue, he feels like it's fine that they're doing this. It happens. Like, he did say it, he said it but he only said it one time really quick, and he also said it when Nyla Rose started bringing out the chairs during her and Riho's match.
Yeah. I think they could have explained it, like, there could have been a moment of, like, maybe the referee feels like Kenny Omega can come back to the match and he is still available.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, there could be a little bit. I'd say it's okay. I can understand why people are going like, it could have been worked a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it then becomes a handicap match. The Young Bucks are going against Chris Jericho. Goddamn Winnipeg boys with in the beginning of their names. Fuck them. Chris Jericho and the members formerly known as LAX beat them down. The Young Bucks try their fucking hardest, but they just can't.
They did have a couple cool spots.
Oh yeah, they tried. Like they were this. Like felt like they were this close to winning so many times,
which is really impressive considering we did have a moment where we checked in on them getting ready in the locker room, and the Bucks and Kenny just looked depressed as fuck. They looked like they didn't want to work tonight.
Yeah, like they're squeezing a lot out of this whole tension. Everything is great. But the match ended with a fucking beautiful moment that made me pop so hard. Santana and Ortiz are in the corner and have one of the Bucks, both arms. They double Irish.
What the hell?
You okay, man?
Yeah, my dog just knocked over something on a shelf.
Oh, damn.
Alright, I guess that'll teach me to put Sentai Mechs on the bottom shelf. Keep going. I got this.
Okay, but Santana and Ortiz do a double Irish whip. And Chris Jericho's in the middle, and he just swings around, does a Judas effect, and it's like, holy shit, that looked awesome.
Yeah.
It was so good. But then what happens after that? Ortiz, Santana, and Chris Jericho just decide to go, you know what, fuck these guys, and started beating them up more.
And then Sammy Guevara comes in.
And joins in the beating.
And then Cody comes out and tries to break it up.
And does this try and do the save. And nope,
which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I saw a picture on Twitter. After the match, he just got a little patch up and then immediately went to gorilla position. So he was coming straight back from gorilla.
Yeah.
And then Dustin comes out to try and help him, which was a bit odd because I was like, Dustin, you're not competing tonight. Why are you in full gear and face paint? But whatever. And then Jack flipping Swagger comes out, who is now calling himself Jake Hager because
which is his government name.
Mm-hmm. Which, okay, was not expecting that at all. Like I knew there was probably going to be some kind of surprise twist ending because that's just how major wrestling things go. But I was expecting like Wardlow to debut or something. I was not expecting them to have signed a UFC guy.
He's not in UFC. He's in Bellator.
Oh, okay.
He is MMA, but two different companies.
Okay. But he goes and picks up Dustin with Jericho or someone. He picks him up with somebody, and they put him through the ring bell table.
Yeah.
And that's how the first episode ends, with Jericho and his new faction, which as of yet is unnamed, standing tall.
But it is confirmed the faction, which I'll talk about because we're at the end. I'll talk about Tony Khan's interview. Ooh, damn. But yeah, essentially we now have the Nega Elite.
Kind of crazy that in the first episode of their show, we don't end on the Elite being triumphant. We end on the fact that they may have gotten a bit in and over their heads.
Oh, and it's fucking great because I saw someone point out, oh man, that's a fucking beautiful image of Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
It's like, what'd you expect me to do? But essentially,
and Jake Hager's just like, oh god, what have I done?
I fucking love Jake Hager being here because in comparison to the rest of the AEW crowd, he looks like a beast.
Yeah.
He looks fucking great, and he moved great, and it was excellent.
He's definitely going to be the enforcer of the group.
Oh yes, very much so.
And I want to give a special hats off to them for resisting the temptation to make Moxley part of the group. He's just this wild third party. Oh,
I just want Moxley to never join a faction.
Yeah.
And if he does, it's very much like, I am only temporarily working with you, I am not joining you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love it if there was just a moment of like, there's only one faction I'm ever going to be a part of, and they're not here.
Ooh.
That'd be fun. That'd be a nice little nod, a wink and a nod. But like, you have a leader who is a well-decorated Winnipeg veteran. You have one of the world's most talked about and beloved tag team. You have an upcomer who's making big names for himself. And then you have a big, tough, former WWE guy.
That's quite the beefy, impressive group.
It's a perfect parallel to the Elite. Because the Elite has all those same people. With Kenny Omega being the Winnipeg veteran, Sammy Guevara being the up-and-comer, the young Hangman being the up-and-comer, the Young Bucks being the tag team, and Cody Rhodes being that Jack Swagger spot of being the former WWE big guy. Because he's the biggest guy of the Elite. He looks the strongest and looked the most Jack.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he comes out to the ring wearing a flippin' weight belt.
Yeah. So there's neat parallels, and I cannot wait to see. The only thing is, I cannot think of what their name would be.
The Elite is already kind of a heelish name, is the thing.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe play into Chris Jericho's thing in New Japan, which he was Alpha.
The Alpha, ooh.
Or like the Alpha and Omega. That'd be neat. Kind of make fun of Kenny Omega at the same time. I don't know.
Maybe the Pack. He's the Alpha of the Pack.
There could be that, but then then you'd be making comparisons and things. Fans would make up comparisons to the Wolf Pack of NWO, which I don't think they want.
That's fair.
There's definitely something there, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be fun.
Real quick, before we move on, before we give like final thoughts, since it was kind of part of the show, since they were revealed on the day, here's a more close shot of the tag belts. How are you feeling on them?
I'm digging them. The only thing I'm not totally over the moon with, and it's more of like okay, that's a detail, is the way the World Championship fonts and the background of those fonts look. If it was more well integrated into the design, I dig it, but just being plastered there, it's not necessarily that I hate it, it's just more of like okay.
That's fair. I like them a good bit. It feels like taking that WWE blatant logo style that the main roster belts have and like actually making it look good. Yeah. It's nice to see that they're treating their tag champions like world champs. Yeah.
Which is great. But yeah, so I want to talk briefly about the Tony Khan after show interview because he revealed a lot of cool stuff.
Okay.
People are asking about like healthcare and like all that kind of stuff. That's when he revealed anybody who wants healthcare can get a job and position within the AEW corporate structure, and they will immediately be covered. Anybody who doesn't and wants to be able to be more free moving, they're free to do that. Like he even mentioned the fact that Jon Moxley isn't being covered in healthcare by AEW because he's being covered by his wife's healthcare.
That's nice. I mean, like, I've seen some people on like Reddit and that kind of disparaging AEW, saying like, "Oh, they're saying they're being really revolutionary and giving people healthcare," but in reality, it's the same as WWE. Only the execs are getting healthcare, and it's nice to see like, no, there's options.
Yeah, no, it's very much. There's two options on wrestling with AEW. You are an independent contractor, and it is truly defined as independent contractor. It is like how an independent contractor should be defined. And then you have the full-time member, which also has a part in the corporate structure, which a lot of the members of the roster are currently under.
Yeah, seems like somebody actually watched that John Oliver segment.
Yeah, which is great. It's a great little bit of stuff. They asked a lot about like weird details that he couldn't really reveal. It's just like, that's the thing you gotta kind of have to wait and see. He did officially say that, yeah, they are a stable. He accidentally revealed that. So this is officially going to be a stable. So this is going to be officially a thing going forward.
Nice.
And yeah, it was a really good, quick little interview. I don't think Chris Van Vliet has put it up. Someone else put it up. That's where I watched it. But yeah. So, first episode of Wednesday Night Dynamite. Thoughts, feelings, opinions?
Pretty friggin' good. Like every match was at least a solid effort. A lot of great little moments here and there. It all felt very consistent. It didn't feel like a structured program. It felt like I was tuning in to watch a live show being broadcast on TV, which I think was the most impressive thing about it. Just that overall feel of this is not super planned out and quality controlled. This is a live event that you're getting to watch on TV.
Yeah, it felt like a sporting event.
Mm-hmm. Which, you know, that's what Tony Khan's big thing is he wants to make wrestling feel more like a legit sport again.
Yeah, and like it still has that pro wrestling flavor though, because you still had run-ins, you still had surprises, you still had that dramatic soap opera storytelling, but it was from the frame of no, we're working together because it benefits all of us in this sporting structure, because working together we can get more opportunities, get more of the pot, get more money, all that kind of stuff.
And it all felt like it was consistent with what they were doing. It didn't feel like it was a surprise for the sake of a surprise and to introduce a new feud. Like, they could have very easily ended the Riho wins segment with Britt Baker runs down from the announce table and kicks Michael Nakazawa's ass and then starts going after Riho, and then Kenny Omega interferes on her. But no, they kept the feud going. They built up the menace of Nyla Rose a bit more instead.
Yeah. And like, I know I heard some people, like, no, it was Wrestle Talk, say it felt like a very heel heavy show, which was weird. I get it because we've had so many pay-per-views where the good guys win. It's been faces the whole time. We need to show the depth and the power of the heels going forward.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, up until this, aside from the Dark Order, I didn't really feel like there were heels in AEW. I felt like there were some badasses and there were some rogue elements, but there were no true bad guys. This is kind of where, within the confines of AEW, Jericho fully defined himself as, yeah, I am the bad guy.
Yeah, it's very much like the what the fuck did you expect kind of bad guys. Like, he's doing a thing and like he's being booed and it's like, bro, I'm Chris Jericho. Have you not watched my career?
Did you not see that promo after All Out? I am a dickhead and I enjoy it.
I'm a dickhead, I enjoy it, and I'm gonna find like-minded individuals who appreciate me for who I am to help me out.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I don't think I can really grade this show yet because I want to have like a good couple more episodes of Dynamite under the belt before I can go like, okay, this was an average show, this was an above average show, below average show.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to go ahead and like start marking out being like, oh yeah, Dynamite's the best show ever. This proves it. They've got it all under control. But I'm like, this is a really strong start, and it was pretty much what I was hoping.
Yeah. Like, the best that this could be, I hope to God this is just an average show for Dynamite going forward.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Like, I'd be fine if this was an above average show, if this is like the peak and they kind of dip down a little bit in quality going forward, because I know they can't keep it up all week to week.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if this is the average, whoo boy, are those numbers going to go up? WWE has responded to the first shots of the Wednesday Night War by basically saying, yo, we got a show on Wednesday. It's going to head-to-head.
Put it on their television.
So in the weeks leading up to the premiere of AEW, they basically been putting the first hour of NXT on USA and the second hour of NXT on the network, which was bullshit because I never watched the second hour of the first premiere just because I didn't think about it.
Yep.
I missed half of it.
But that also means they technically had 2 premieres. Free if you count the original WWE Network premiere.
Yep. But basically, first NXT on USA, we had a couple cool bits. We had Triple H making a promo, basically going, "We are NXT,"
and just really nice little trick of camera work and editing, making it seem like this was a pre-recorded bit to kind of hype up for the show. And you're right by thinking that, but also it's not pre-recorded. The camera immediately pans and Triple H pulls back the black curtain he's standing in front of to reveal the audience just losing it, which was a great trick.
Oh, it was a fucking great little moment for the show. It really it showed how NXT is more of a close-knit group of fans in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt that way. Yeah. But then we had a fatal 4-way, women's fatal 4-way to decide the number 1 contender for the women's championship, and Candice LeRae won.
Yeah, and it was a damn good match. You had Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Mia Yim, and Bianca Belair, basically all the big names in the women's division who aren't the champion right now, just showing off, doing some really good high-flying and dive spots, some great slams. There was an amazing spot right after they came back from a break where all 4 of them were kind of like holding on to each other as one of them was climbing up to the top rope, and then they did like a 4-man, what do you call it, when one on the bottom whips back and then they all slam into the mat.
Yeah.
And that was great. And like I said earlier, this really sold my dad on NXT. As this was going, and I did this with AEW too, as everyone made their entrance, I kind of gave a quick little explanation of the character to him, because they do that on the commentary team, but it's much more filtered into just what you need for this match. So I kind of tried to give my dad the general, like, this is who this person is, this is the kind of stuff they do, and then real quick, this is where they are right now. And he liked all of them. He was like really losing it for some of the higher spots, and it was just fun getting to like see that, oh man, I get my taste in wrestling matches from my dad.
Yeah.
Even though my dad's not a wrestling fan.
They fucking blew the roof off immediately. They fucking went at 10 first thing to get you hyped up. Cool for Candice LeRae. It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
And then a couple video packages, and I can understand that. They're trying to catch new viewers on the USA Network on what's going on in NXT.
And, like, the thing is, I'm sure it was good for the people who hadn't seen NXT before, but for me it was like, really? We just had a really good match. Could we get another match? Another match, please? Please?
But then we did get another match, squash match.
Which lasted all of 10 seconds. And I fucking called that it was going to be a squash match because they came back from break and I was like, oh, I've never heard of this guy before. Wait, they didn't do his entrance. This is a squash match. Who's about to come out? Oh, it's Cameron Grimes. This is definitely a squash match. And I was like saying this out loud to my dad, and then I had to explain the concept of a squash match to him in the time that the match took place.
At the end, you just go, that was a squash match.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically a dirty Leonard Skinner looking dude comes in, fights a dude, he wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then we get some more video packages. I can hear your enthusiasm.
That was a lot.
Yeah. Again, I can understand it. They could probably paste it better.
Yeah, I would much rather it have been like the main event is a big match, but the whole rest of the show is quick, good match, video package. Quick, good match, video package. I think that would have been a lot better. I get why they did it the way they did, and it worked out, but it made the annoying a bit of a slog for me.
Yeah. But in our main event for the USA portion of NXT, we had Strong versus Dream for the North American title. And he was the only member of the Undisputed Era not to have gold around his waist yet.
And they got a prophecy to fulfill, man.
They got a prophecy. End of the year, man. Undisputed Era needs to have all the gold. And right now, it seems that prophecy is coming true because Roderick Strong won against Dream.
Yep.
This was a good match to send off on USA, though.
Yeah, it was a pretty good, solid little match, and it was nice seeing that in the main event we had the character on the NXT roster who could potentially most easily scare off the normies.
Yeah, at least currently.
I joked about it, but explaining Velveteen Dream to my old white Christian dad was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, but solid match, really good, really solid. But on the WWE Network, NXT continued with what apparently has been a really lackluster second half.
I don't agree with this at all.
Okay.
People were saying it was kind of lackluster, but I think that's just because it didn't have that much star power until the end, and there were some upsets. We opened with a kind of a squash match of Pete Dunne taking on Arturo Huaz, one of the boys from the Breakout tournament, who gets squashed by Dunne, of course. But it was a decent short little match, and then we had Xia Li versus Aaliyah, two of the like mid-card up-and-comers in the women's division right now, who I'm honestly really into.
I really dig Xia Li, so I may have to go back and watch this match.
It was a great match. Like, Xia Li got in some good spots, and she eventually came out the winner. But also, Aaliyah looked really cool without coming off too dickish, which is something they've kind of struggled with her character. She has this whole attitude of, I'm an expert in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm this beautiful, gorgeous Brazilian lady who can kick your ass. I don't care about having a regular belt. I've got a black belt. And that they kind of struggle. She's a bit of a tweener. They can kind of struggle with making her look good doing that. But I think she came out really well in this match. Both women looked amazing and did a great job. And honestly, I am really excited to see them get into the title picture in the next 6 months or so, because I feel like that's where they're headed.
But the next match, we had Denzel Giojonet.
I guess that's how you pronounce that. And he was going to be taking on Kushida. He was scheduled for the main event tonight to take on Kushida. Or no, he wasn't. There was something else. But he came out to take on Kushida in what was going to be another Kushida showcase match. And then a wild fucking Imperium appeared. And they just cleared the ring. They kicked the crap out of this guy. And they basically made way for Walter to come out. And then Walter cut a promo saying, like, hey, we're Imperium. We're a bunch of big, badass European guys. We're here to make NXT a better, more prestigious place. And if you don't agree with that, get the hell out of our way. And then Kushida came out and said, hey, this was supposed to be my time. This is my match you're interrupting, motherfuckers. I think I deserve some consolation. And then he gets into a fight with all of Imperium, kind of like runs circles around all of them because he's a little guy and they're a bunch of big motherfuckers. So he's able to get the upper hand on them. And then he says, Walter, meet me in the ring next. And then we got Oney Lorcan versus Lio Rush for a number one contendership for what is now being called the NXT Cruiserweight title.
Which I am down for.
Yeah, with SmackDown headed to Fox tomorrow night as of this recording. They are just absorbing 205 Live into NXT, and with stuff like Imperium in this, Dakota Kai making a comeback, and Pete Dunne returning to NXT, it kind of feels like they're absorbing NXT UK into NXT as well, which is fine. I'm honestly okay with that. But it's a solid little match between Lorcan and Lio Rush, mainly just showcasing Rush's new attitude of, doing the correct response to the way things kind of got backstage, of saying, yeah, I got a bit too full of myself. I kind of got to be a bit of an asshole, but I took a break. I've had some time to train, reprioritize, and now I'm back and I'm ready to start chasing after the cruiserweight title again. And he's got his shot now.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see guys get a second chance.
Mm-hmm. And then we had in our main event, Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane in a street fight. This was supposedly going to be the big blow-off to the Riddle and Dane feud that has been building for the last few months. But Dane took it a bit too far. He dragged Matt out of the ring. He started tearing him all through the back hallways of Full Sail until eventually they ended up outside next to one of the broadcast trucks. And Matt Riddle kicked Killian Dane into a table where Imperium were playing cards. And Walter got up, looked at Matt Riddle like, you little shit. And then him and all of Imperium started beating on Matt Riddle. Then Private Party came out and tried to save him. And then another people came out, another people, until basically the entire fucking locker room was brawling out in the ring area, and that's how the episode ended. And it was quite fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
See, that would have been a nice little moment to end on for the USA Network, because it would have made people go like, "Oh shit, what's going to happen next week?" But that was only on the network, so they didn't get that, which sad.
Yeah, and that's a fair complaint to make. It was still an awesome moment, though.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not saying, like, it feels very much like that was the segment they wanted to end on, but it should have ended for the mass audience to get them invested in more.
Probably, yeah.
But in the upcoming week, there's 2 shows in between this one and the full USA Network premiere, where Dane and Riddle had a rematch to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT title.
And it was a solid little bout. I only caught like half of it because I was late getting home from my run that day, but it was pretty good. And hey, Riddle won. He was scheduled to go for the championship, which is pretty crazy that a guy who only a few months ago was being touted as like this big get for NXT, and we were like, okay, he's probably going to be training and in a few programs here and there for a year, and then maybe we'll see him go for the North American title. He's already in the main title picture.
Oh yeah, he's great. Matt Riddle's been wrestling for a good while, and he's been awesome for a long while.
Yeah.
But Kushida goes to war against Imperium, and he enlists his battle partners. Breezango.
Yep. Kushida in a tag match against all of Imperium minus Walter with Breezango. Really odd couple kind of pairing, but it worked so well. It was a fun little match, I thought.
That's good. I can't wait to see what Breezango do in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because NXT now has another hour to fill. I definitely feel like they're going to get some stuff in.
Yeah.
But then Raw premiered.
It did?
Yeah, Raw had a season premiere.
But Raw was just on last week.
Season premiere.
But Raw's never not been on except for like holidays.
Season premiere.
But fuck it.
So Raw had a season premiere. I watched it. It was okay. It was a good average Raw.
I watched some clips while slacking off at work, as I tend to on my Monday shift. Yeah, it was good. It was okay. It was fine.
It was fun moments. There was a good couple fun moments. I'm not excited about where it's taking place, but the Flair Hogan coaching 2 teams to go head to head against each other. That's interesting. That's fun.
Yeah, and like as much as I'm not a fan of what that's promoting, I can't not pass up the chance to watch Ric Flair in a ring and be in the ring giving a promo again, because it's Ric fucking Flair. The dude's got some of the best mic energy in the business, and it's only gotten better with age. Ric Flair is the wine of wrestling, okay? And flipping, the fact that they picked Randy Orton to be his team captain, genius choice.
Oh, the fucking promo Randy Orton started cutting right after he was announced, because Seth Rollins is Hulk Hogan's captain.
Which, why is he the team captain?
I think it makes sense. Hogan was the biggest babyface, and currently Seth Rollins is positioned as the biggest babyface.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. But basically, Randy Orton comes out and goes like, "Hey Seth, can you take your head out of Hulk Hogan's ass for 5 seconds while I give you a rundown?" And then immediately says something and sucks up to Ric Flair and says, "Can I get a woo?" Woo! Fucking brilliant little like.
And hats off to Miz, because this was a Miz TV segment. Hats off to him for keeping the whole thing together and on track. Because as much as I love Flair and Hogan, they do have a tendency to ramble and get off topic at their current age.
And I did like their promo. It was good. It was like, hey, we're two icons of wrestling. You know what? It'd be interesting to see our minds go up against each other. Our body's not up to it, but our minds are. So let's see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fun. It seems like it's a very good in sport. And you know what? I don't mind wrestling storylines that are all about good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing.
It feels like two old guys on a porch making a bet rather than WWE trying to pass them off as legitimate competitors at fucking 80.
Yeah, and I you know what? I much rather dig that kind of thing for nostalgia pops than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That works. By
the way, while we're talking about this sort of thing, did you see that rumor that apparently Stone Cold is thinking about getting in shape for one last match?
I can understand Stone Cold thinking it, but like I'd rather not. Stone.
Same.
I mean, I'd appreciate it and I'd root you on during the match and I'd fucking love it, but I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd like, if Stone Cold wants to get back in shape so he can take bumps as like a coach manager on the show, that I'd be totally fine with. That's okay. That's okay on my part. I just don't, A, I don't want him to risk it, and B, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
You know?
And like part of me does agree with you that like it would be great to see him as like Becky Lynch's manager or something like that, but then the other part of me goes like, Becky doesn't need that.
Oh no, I don't think Becky. I think like more of like a coach in general of like babyfaces can go up to him for advice. He can just back up any babyface that feels like, hey, Stone, I'm just worried about tonight. Do you think you could just be in my corner? Just kind of help me out. And Stone Cold goes like, no.
Hell yeah, have a beer.
Yeah. And like, but be well enough that he could take a bump so he could do manager bumps and things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
make him the counterpoint to Paul Heyman.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be neat. I wouldn't want it every week, but like, it'd be cool every once in a while.
Yeah, just when schedules line up, kind of.
Yeah. But there were some other things. The Fiend ran in at the end of the show. Did some shit.
Firefly Funhouse was great, as always.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Do we want to mention the fucking interview Bray Wyatt did at a local TV station?
That was wonderful.
That was in character and so great. I only watched like the first little bit of it because I got busy with something else, but like...
So Bray, explain what is Hell in a Cell. Oh, it's this big dangerous structure where we do combat.
It was so great because they like... I would love to have seen the beginning. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a deranged version of Mr. Rogers. Can we play into that? It's like, oh fuck yeah. Oh man. There's a bunch of other segments on Raw that were fine. That were good. They were good.
I don't know what the fuck is up with... Actually, no. Somebody posted a hilarious and perfect explanation for the Lana kiss. Did you see that?
Oh.
Where Rusev came out in support as part of Team Hogan.
Yep.
And then less than an hour later, Lana kissed a black dude on live TV.
Oh man, the joke I loved. I don't remember who said it. It was on Reddit. But it was since AEW is going for the IETV partnership. It looks like WWE is going for the BBC.
That's great.
Oh man, have you seen the side angle when that started happening with Randy Orton?
Yeah, where fucking Baron Corbin, because apparently Baron Corbin won King of the Ring, because apparently King of the Ring is a thing again. Baron Corbin was sitting on his throne, and the chair broke, and Corbin starts laughing, and so they both stand there for the rest of the match, and then when Lana came out, He lost it.
Randy Orton's just going full on, hand over his mouth, just doing that whole shit. It's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of anything else like big and impressive that happened.
Let me pull up the YouTube clips real quick and
Yeah.
just double check stuff.
Yeah, because you didn't watch it, but I did. I felt it was my civic duty for this dumb podcast to do that.
Yeah, where it's okay. They had a new opening package video thing.
Oh yeah, Skillet is doing a new theme, and they were actually in the package, which was kind of cool.
Oh my god, I believe I forgot to bring up the one thing with Raw I've actually been following in the clips the last few weeks, besides Firefly Funhouse. AOP are back, and they're doing like this cartel enforcer gimmick, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, they look really good.
Mm-hmm. Who was it? Brock Lesnar attacked Rey Mysterio and his son.
Oh yeah, that was a fucking brutal moment. That was good.
Do Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks are doing a thing at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
What else?
The new Raw commentary team's been pretty good though. Jerry the King Lawler, Dio.
Oh
Madden,
yeah, we completely forgot to talk about Dio. We were freaking out about Dio the other night.
Okay, so Dio is Brendan Williams, former NFL player and became a wrestler after that. Trained under Booker T and joined NXT. I loved him to bits, partially because he is kind of related to a YouTube group that I was a big fan of because they've broken up, called the Super Best Friends. And he's just kind of a generally cool, giant-ass weeaboo. So much so that he changed his name to Dio Madden. Dio because of JoJo. And Madden is a reference to the Super Best Friends. And he's commentating on Raw now, which is just fantastic.
Yeah. And it's interesting seeing Jerry Lawler lead an announce team for once.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. He wasn't horrible during the show. He wasn't bad.
Yeah.
He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. Also, Rey Mysterio is supposed to go against Seth Rollins for the belt, but because Dominic was brutalized by Brock Lesnar, he was like, no, I'm going to follow my son to the hospital. So that was a thing that happened. Yeah, it was a pretty okay Raw. If Raw was like this every week, I wouldn't be pissed watching it.
Yeah. It is one of those shows where I watched it and I went, okay, there was some cool stuff on Raw this week. Doesn't make me want to watch the whole show every week again.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not watching it next week.
Yeah.
It was very much like, I'm watching everything this week because this is the first week of Dynamite, first week NXT's full on.
Oh, really? You're watching everything? I can't wait to hear your thoughts on New Japan and Ring of Honor and Impact and your local indie show.
You son of a bitch. You know exactly what the fuck I mean.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
I mean, I could be.
But yeah, Raw was okay. It was good. It was fine.
It was a Raw. It was a modern episode of Raw.
It was a modern, better than average episode of Raw. But remember what the average is of Raw.
Yeah.
Better than a 75, maybe a 76.
Correctamundo.
But then we had the 2-hour premiere of NXT on USA full on, starting with Corey Taylor of Slipknot.
Yep.
Just going like, hyping you up. This is NXT, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and going head-to-head with AEW for the first time. And I'll admit, I watched AEW live. Like I said, I watched it with my dad. And then about an hour later, I went in my office and I watched this on my computer while I reorganized some shelves and stuff. And I gotta admit, I think that might have been a mistake. I probably should have waited for the next morning or something because I did not have enough energy for this.
Yeah, I watched NXT today.
Okay.
And the first match went with a bang, Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. Immediately getting you invested in everything, just immediately going like, hey, shit's important.
Yep, and it was a pretty solid match.
Oh yeah, really good. A lot of like back and forth wrestling kind of stuff because that's what Matt Riddle's really fucking good at.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
But Adam Cole retained, but he has a new challenger.
Finn Flippin' Balor is back at NXT.
Oh, thank God.
Yep.
Run to his sweet embrace.
He sacrificed himself to the Fiend, and then he said, all right, I'm going to get married, I'm going to go on my honeymoon, and then when I come back, I want a meeting with Hunter.
Oh, dude, and he also has a house in Orlando, so it's very much like, hey, I just want to relax a little bit with my wife and don't want to have a huge schedule.
I would not be surprised if they're one of those couples that wants to start a family immediately, and so he said, like, hey, I want to be at home as much as possible. Can I be on the show that will allow me to do that?
Yeah, very much so. And it was really cool to see him because immediately the crowd was like, holy shit, Finn Balor!
Yeah.
It was dope. I was
surprised there wasn't a welcome back chant.
Yeah. They maybe thought it was like a one-time thing or maybe just like one thing. I don't know.
Because he just came out and stared Riddle down and then, or not Riddle, he stared Cole down and then he said, as of this moment, Finn Balor is NXT, and then he left.
Yeah, so we're going to see more of him. It's very interesting. I'm super glad he has someone who actually cares and loves him booking him now.
Yeah, because he's a tiny Irish Shawnee with a spooky side.
Oh, man. But
that sounds like a dish at a WWE themed restaurant. Yeah, hi. I'll have the tiny Irish Sean with a side of spoopy.
I mean, they did have a restaurant once.
That's right. Oh, I forget about that.
But that was like during the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a Velveteen Dream promo, kind of hyping up NXT in general, getting the new NXT viewers up to speed on a little bit things.
And since Roderick Strong burned his couch, he was sitting on a human throne made out of the NXT women's locker room.
You know, shame. It's a shame that WWE has already resorted to stealing gimmicks because, I mean, come on, the Dark Order.
I was about to say Dark Order, eat your heart out.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. They got those. Yeah, Velveteen Dream did it better.
Yeah, he did it better. He showed them up. He really did it.
Yeah. But then we have a bomb-ass match between two women in very similar costumes, which took me a second to figure out.
Yeah.
Io Shirai and Mia Yim.
And it's funny you should bring up the costumes because Io Shirai, actually, for this match, she had new gear. She's been wearing this kind of like full body deal that looked very similar to her new gear up until recently. And I'm pretty sure that like she changed to this sort of like thigh highs and then a two-piece deal because she wanted something that still had that look but allowed her more maneuverability and breathed better. And honestly, it looked better. I never commented on it just because I felt like it might come off in poor taste, but I was not a fan of the one-piece look on her. It didn't fit with the gimmick in my opinion, but this looks much more badass.
See, if I remember right, didn't she also have like the pants version with the top?
I don't think
that
so.
May have been Lucha Underground. So let me look.
Well, I'm just talking about since she's turned heel.
Yeah, she was a heel in Lucha Underground.
Okay. But yeah, no, this match was really solid. I liked getting to see the nice kind of clash of styles because Mia Yim's very much a close to ground competitor, and you know, Io Shirai is known as the genius of the sky, and she got to kind of show off a good bit. Oh wow, that's a good look for her.
Yeah.
And it was just a nice, interesting little clash and a good bit to help put Io over a little more. So hopefully, eventually, we can see her get back into the title scene.
Yep. Next, we had Gargano versus Shane Thorne.
Yeah, the NXT mainstay versus the up-and-comer who's complaining about TV time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, now they have more TV time to fill, so he's getting his spot in.
This match was okay. I'll be honest, I kind of missed a lot of it because I just wasn't looking at the screen, and this was at the point where I started to really feel tired. But yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, it was pretty good. it felt very much like we need to get Johnny Gargano on the card. We don't really have a major storyline for him right now, but let's just get Johnny on the card.
Yeah.
Because the major storyline is for his wife, Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler.
You know what I'm going to say.
You want the belt off of Shayna.
I'm sick of Shayna matches. They all go the same way. They trick you into thinking this person might have a shot, and then they end with the Cure Fuda clutch or whatever the fuck it's called, and then she's just a dickhead for another few weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just dogging on Shayna because she's UFC, because I don't like the fighting style she has. I'm legitimately sick of her at this point because I don't feel like she has any range. And I feel like she's only had the belt for as long as she has because Triple H thinks she's a badass.
Yeah, she's overexposed at this point.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know this is a naughty word, but I feel like she's getting dangerously close to Brock Lesnar territory.
I can see that, but there's nothing in the world that's ever going to be as bad as Brock Lesnar having the Universal title and just keeping it hostage.
Now I'm having non-flashbacks. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, main event of WrestleMania, third year in a row. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, main event of WrestleMania, third year in a row. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns.
No. Hey. Next up, we got a Pete Dunne match.
Hey, okay.
Pete Dunne versus Danny Burch.
Yeah.
Battle of some British blokes.
Mm-hmm. It's time for a pint and a fight to make a hell of a night. Which I've not been paying much attention to Orkin and Birch since I first saw them on 205 like months ago. But goddamn, that's an awesome slogan.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good, dope dudes. But Pete Dunne wins.
Again, we're trying to put him over. We're building Dunne back up in the
American
NXT scene.
Yeah. But then someone comes in and attacks Pete Dunne.
It's Triple H's latest pet project, Damian Priest.
Yep.
Who I guess is going to have a feud with Pete Dunne now.
Yeah.
And he did his arrow shooty, make my name and fire thing, which doesn't make much sense because he doesn't have an actual bow and flaming arrow, and it's onto a Titantron. And look, Damian Priest, I want to like you, but you're a tad goofy for somebody who's supposed to be so badass.
Yeah. But next, we had the tag team champions going up and defending their title, the Undisputed Era versus Street Profits, with a special guest for their entrance, Wale.
So, apologies to any rap fans, but this honestly kind of ticked me off because A, I barely know who Wale is, and I only know who he is because he was on a SmackDown once back when I was watching SmackDown, and B, I was really expecting Josiah Williams because there's been kind of a YouTube storyline right now of different people going up to Josiah Williams and asking for a Wrestle and Flow remix. And one of those people has been the Street Profits. Multiple times.
Yeah, but now they can work it in. But dude, you had Wale on your side. Yeah, but we want you to do it.
That's fair. I suppose they're probably saving that for a takeover.
Yeah, that's very possible. But regrettably, Undisputed Era won.
And then all Strong and Cole came out to beat on the Profits a little more, cut a little promo, and it happened. It finally happened. Our evil baby boy is back.
The Blackheart.
Tommaso Ciampa returned from injury to put his nose in Adam Cole's face. Because,
he wants Goldie back.
Yeah, you got a little something that belongs to him, Adam.
Oh, man. And the great moment was the fact that he only looked at the title for like a good minute.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't see Adam Cole. He saw the title.
It's such good storytelling because you're expecting Ciampa to come back and target Johnny. But to have him come back, especially when you've already put Finn Balor in there as a potential opponent for Adam Cole, to have Ciampa come out and say, I want Goldie back more than I want to go and torment Johnny some more. That's like, oh, that's such a good character moment. And honestly, I am so hyped for a freeway match between Balor, Cole, and Ciampa. They got to do it. They got to make that happen.
Oh man, that'd be fun. Oh man, but like,
though I don't know how likely it is, considering War Games is the next takeover.
Ooh, shit. Yeah. I wonder if AEW can do a War Games match.
Be interesting to see.
I'm not saying
right away.
I'm not saying functionally. I'm saying legally. Can they call it a War Games, or would they have to call it something else?
That would be interesting, and I really hope Triple H would at least allow them to, like, say, yeah, we have the copyright on. Yeah, we have the copyright on this, but hey, your dad invented it, so there's no reason you shouldn't be able to use the name. Speaking of which, I read an interview with Cody, or a transcript of an interview from a news show he was on. Cody has the rights back to call himself Cody Rhodes. He's just choosing not to. At
this point, I can see him like make a big win, like his first win for the AEW title. He goes like, so what's it like winning this title? It's so great. It's going to be great putting the name Cody Rhodes on this belt.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Yeah. But yeah, that was NXT, the first full time on USA Network, and we are actually recording this the day before SmackDown Live airs on Fox. So we have not seen it.
I like, honestly, they plugged some of the matches during NXT last night. Nothing really catches my interest, so unless I just hear good things through the grapevine, I don't think I'm going to watch it. And honestly, I was not too impressed with this episode of NXT. I mean, it was takeover quality level matches, but only a few things really, really grabbed me. And those are the obvious two things. Finn Balor returning and Tommaso Ciampa returning. Yeah. The actual matches were just like, okay, this is a good quality match, but I felt the same coming out of it as I did the last takeover. None of the belts changed hands. Nothing too exciting happened. This was just a bunch of solid matches that don't really feel like they're going to mean much in the long run.
Yeah. It's a weird thing because now that we have something else at the quality that NXT has been for the last few years, NXT just feels like it's lost a little bit of its luster.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like, oh, we have other options.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be an AEW mark. I would love to have a good episode, an amazing episode of NXT to mark out about. Right? It just so happens that this month, and to some extent last month, AEW impressed me more. I had more fun watching AEW, and it's in a large part, you brought up before we recorded, Dave Meltzer said NXT had better match quality, AEW had better story quality. As I've said countless times before, when it comes to wrestling, I'm more of a story guy. Because I don't give a jack shit about sports because there's no story except for what you infer yourself from, like, real life facts and statistics. I like an actual story and a narrative playing out in front of me.
Oh yeah, Tony Khan also said that he's willing to count and register more statistics like near falls, count outs, things like that.
Ooh.
Which makes me think, oh man, what if we got like AEW trading cards and I had backs like stats like baseball cards?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be dope. But anything else on this month of wrestling you want to mention?
I mean, nothing specific, just a general, like, yeah, we're into the first round of the war. It's an exciting time. And, I can't say anything has been bad this month. It's all been solid at worst. Yeah. And compare that to 6 months ago when we were just beating our heads against our tables over what was happening to Raw and SmackDown post WrestleMania.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I will say this. WWE has improved since then. But it's like going from a D to a C.
Yeah. By the way, it's not WWE has improved since then. The main roster has improved since then.
Yeah, because NXT has always been around the BA area.
And with NXT being on USA now, it's less that NXT is the developmental branch and more just NXT is the Hunter show.
I have a feeling it's going to pan out like this. Raw is going to be the sports entertainment area. And we saw this week. It was a lot of soap opera, a lot of like emotion. It was Dominic getting beaten down. It was, oh my God, Lana is cheating on Rusev. all that kind of stuff.
Hashtag Aiden was right.
Then NXT is going to be the work rate independent show, but done through the WWE lens. And then SmackDown, because Fox has said that they want this, SmackDown is going to be the sports-orientated show. SmackDown is going to be conceptually similar to AEW. We'll see how that pans out. We'll see how it kind of plays on SmackDown tomorrow. But I see that's how WWE is going to differentiate their 3 shows, and AEW is going to be AEW.
Yeah. AEW is going to be Nitro, but in the modern day.
And honestly, I cannot wait to see what happens next week, just because first show, you didn't know what to expect. Now I'm expecting things, and it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Hoo boy. But if that's all the things you want to say about wrestling this month,
yep,
I think you need to tell the people who you are.
Well, I'm a guy called the Vacuuminator. I like a good many things, specifically and mainly installments of franchises that happened around the mid 2000s. I'm always a mid 2000s kid. I'm big into that kind of stuff. Transformers Unicron trilogy, Rescue Heroes, Justice League Unlimited, that kind of jazz is my thing. And you can find me talking about that kind of stuff in video form at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. I do reviews. I do rambly side videos. I do fan edits here and there. It's a good, fun time. And you can follow me at twitter.com/thevacuuminator or instagram.com/thevacuuminator to keep up with what I'm doing on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, you stalker.
Alrighty. I'm Chris Gaston. I do video editorials. Beep beep beep. Boop boop boop.
We okay there? Your programming go bad for a second?
I started saying something. I was like, I don't know what I'm about to say, and that just happened. I'm a variety of subjects, ranging from dumb things to dumber things. You can find me on YouTube at Boingo Writer. Link to that is in the description. You can follow me on Instagram at Boingo_writer. Link to that is in the description. And you can join my Discord server. A link to that is where is it? Where's that link? God damn it, where's the link? Where is in the description?
Yes.
But that's Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. Yeah, wrestling. I don't know how should we end this?
Well, there's only one real way you can end it. It's late. I'm tired. There's too much fucking wrestling. It's all too good. I'm tapping out. Alrighty.
Beep. Boop. Beep boop boop. Bop bop. Beep beep. Beep bop bop boop. Beep bop. Beep bop bop. Beep up bop boo.
At Dan Slott. The L